Hey, here is video part 4 for 5th grade. Let's watch as I go over more of my journal materials. If I can share my screen, let's see how that's going to work. Aha, the magic of sharing. Let's share and go. Fractions, I love them. Fractions are awesome. Fractions is one of my favorite topics, to be honest. Let's talk about it and go over it, and let's get good at it. In a minute, you're going to pause on this. We're going to work on memorizing those. That's very important. Just like your multiplication, this is the other key thing that'll help you, not just for 5th grade, but for 6th grade too. I guarantee. Now, fractions are pieces or parts of something. If you want a non-fancy definition, think about it. If you fracture your arm and break it into pieces, you fractured it. Get it? Fraction. It's in pieces, parts. They are parts of a group, and they can be pieces from a whole. It's true. They are related to division and decimals big time. Every fraction, remember, is really a division problem. It helps to think of money and clocks when thinking of fractions. It does. I'll point out a clock to you later and ask me about it, and I'll tell you why I say that. Numerators on top, denominators on the bottom. Like if a half, that's a half. 1/2, numerator, denominator. The top is the numerator. Numerator is north. Denominator is down, south. Get it? Down. Down denominator. Numerator is on top. Numerator. Denominator is down. The top of the numerator is the part you're talking about. The bottom number represents the total number of pieces the object has. The denominator does. So there's 1 out of 2. That line is out of 1 out of 2. It's a half. If I say a half, what do I really mean is 1 out of 2. The line that divides the 1 and 2 is out of. Numerator is always north, denominator is down, as I said. Fraction to decimal rule, very important. You divide. Make numerator on top fall to the right. Watch that cursor move. Fall to the right. Right side. Fall right to get it right. Put decimal after the numerator with 2 zeros. Work out, and most of the time, ignore the remainder if you have one. Depends on what you're doing. So 4/7, if I want to know what decimal it is, the 4 falls into a division problem. You put 4.00, put the decimal straight up top, 7 to go into 4, one time. No, what am I saying? One time. That's craziness. 7 will go into 4, 0 times, so put a 0 there. Then, you work it out, put a 0, subtract, bring down a 0, 7 will go into it how many times, blah, blah. I'm just trying to say that's how you solve it, not going to actually solve it. But hey, pause the video, solve it. Let's do it. Oh, you're like, no. Yes, let's do it. All right, here we go. Shrink this down a little bit. Here we go. Fractions to memorize. And I'm going to pause this video. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. You can see the whole thing. They get me out of the way here. Go over there. Get out of the way. How rude. I don't care. Fractions to memorize. 1/1 is a whole. Or pretend it's $1. Or 2 out of 2, 3/3. It means 1 divided by 1, 2 divided by 2, 3 divided by 3. It's always a 1. It's 1.00. It's 100%. That'll help you for 6th grade. A half is decimal 50 or decimal 5, not decimal 0.5. That's 5 cents. This is 50 cents. It's 50%. 1/3 is decimal 33 approximately. Notice it has a 3 on the bottom. I think of 2 3s. 1/3, 33%. 1/4 is exactly 25. I think of 4 quarters in a dollar. 4 quarters in a dollar. 1/5, that means you cut something, in other words, cutting it into 5 parts. Decimal 20, 20%. 1/6, decimal 17. Or you could go 1, falls to the right, divide by 6. 1/7 is decimal 14 approximately. Now, how can you remember 1/6 is decimal 17? We'll add 1 plus 6 to 7. Get it? 17%. 1/7, think of 7 plus 7 is 14. 1/8 is decimal 13. Just got to kind of know that one. 1/8, decimal 13. 1/9 is decimal 11, 11%, and 1/10 is exactly like a dime. 1/10, 10%. That's 11%, 13%. 3/4 means you have 3/4. There's 3 of them. Think about it. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, which is 25, 25, 25, like down here. 25, 25, 25 is decimal 75, 75%. Just like 1/3 is 33 approximately, wouldn't 2/3 be what? Yep, 66%. 1/5 is 20%, so 2/5 would be 40%. 3/5 would be 60% because there's 3 of them, 20, 20, 20. Decimal 20, decimal 20, decimal 20. Pretend it's money. Decimal 33 or 1/3 is like 33 cents. Numerator falls to the right to get it right. Divide. Put decimals with zeros. Example, 3/4. It's that 75 cents, right? Decimal 75 because it's a quarter, right? A fourth. But 3 falls to the right and divide. Solve it. Do it. Here we go. More fractions. I love them. Fractions. Fraction box. This is just showing you something you should have learned in the past, but I'm going to make sure you know it. A whole is the whole thing. A half, 2 pieces. A third, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. 1/4. We can pause this if you need to. 1/5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1/6. The bigger the bottom number, the smaller it gets because you're cutting it tinier and tinier. The larger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. 8/3 improper. Improper fractions, you should always divide them. You don't want to leave them improper. You just don't. Improper mix fall to the right to get it right. So it falls this way. The 8 falls this way. Make it bigger if I need to. The 8 falls to the right, and you divide. 3 going to 8 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. And this shows you how to set it up the other way. So the 2 would go here. The top, the quotient always goes the big number in front for the mixed fraction. The remainder is always the top of the fraction part, and the outside part, the divisor, is the bottom. So 2 and 2/3 is the same, equivalent to 8/3. Now, let's look at this over here. This cross multiplying will help you big time, as they say, oodles and gobs in 6th grade and now, but especially 6th grade. Cross multiply, which is larger? Are they equivalent, greater than, less than, equal to? 3/7 and 2/3. Well, which is bigger? Cross multiply to find out. 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 2 is 14. See how I'm cross multiplying? I'm not multiplying, I'm cross multiplying. They're not the same thing. This is just to tell if they're bigger, smaller, or the same. The comparison symbols. So 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 2 is 14. Try some other ones. We'll try some other fractions. Pause this video. We'll do some other examples. Notice the example. 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Diagonal multiplying. 7 times 2 is 14. 9. So 3/7 is less than 2/3. Less than. 5 and 1/3 is mixed. How do I make it unmixed? You triangle it. That's a big thing to know how to do, is to triangle something. So 5 and 1/3, you look down here. To make it improper, you triangle it. So 3 times 5, notice I've got a triangle there. 3 times 5 is 15. Put a 15, carry a, or add a 1. See the plus sign? You get 16/3. So look right here. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15. I would write a 15 up here. Add the 1, make it 16, and leave the bottom the same. 3 times 5 equals 15, plus 1 is 16. Leave denominator the same, so have 16/3. And I wrote it in word form, 16/3. Ooh, it's a lot of stuff. Now, we're going to simplify in the next video. Factors. 50. What are the factors of 50? 1 times 50, 2 times 25, 5 times 100. You have 6 factors. Factors are what you multiply to equal a number. 1 times 50 is 50. 2 times 25 is 50. 5 times 10 is 50. Always start with a 1 to find factors. Start with a 1. Start with 1 in itself. Then you try the next number, 2. 2 times what? If it doesn't work, don't put it. 3 times what? 3 doesn't go into 50 equally. It's got to go into it perfectly fitting. It can't have a remainder. This has 6 factors. Rule of 3. This is for deciding if a certain number has a factor of 3. Example, 27. Now, this can get a little sketchy here, so let's see. So you have a 27. You add the digits of 27. You get a 9, because 2 plus 7 is 9. Think about it. 27. This is just a trick. So now ask yourself, can you count by 3s and get a 9? Yep. 3, 6, 9. So notice, look right here, that you said 9. This means that 3 times something is a factor of 27. So you know a 3 will go into 27 by this trick. This is a trick. Remember that. It's a way of knowing it, of knowing if a 3 will fit into it. And if the 3 fits, oftentimes a 6 will too. Not always, but often it will. You should try 6 also. But I know the factors of 27 are 1 times 27. 2 doesn't work because 2 is even. What are the even numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? 0, because 0 is also even. That means 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 are odd. Whew, it's a mouthful. So 1 times 27, those are 2 factors. 3 times 9. 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 6 doesn't work actually in this case. So those are some of the factors of 27, if not all. Simplifying is our next topic. And we will pause the video, stop the video here, the end.